Hello, good evening everyone. You are watching in the evening. Hope you all are doing good. And welcome to something brand new. This is the first race of the Semi-Slick Racing Classic Day Championship, which is being held on our beautiful Discord community, Semi-Slick Racing, as I mentioned earlier. And we should have a pretty good race today. In this Porsche car, I believe it's the Porsche 911 RS. I'll quickly check actually, because I have the information somewhere over here. Porsche 911 RSR 74. It's a classic car. It's a beautiful little car, and apparently it's very fun to drive. So all of these drivers will be showing us exactly how much fun it is to drive, and if close racing is possible, we hope to be seeing plenty of that. You're watching Cavalo, who is trying to push this car as hard as he can, maybe a little too much. No big crash there. A couple of decently quick drivers. Cavalo is known as a decently quick one, and Schwarzfahrer, who is one of, well, Cavalo and Schwarzfahrer are both the organizers, official organizers of this championship. They thought up the calendar, the car. This would be all good. The calendar for this season is every other Tuesday there will be a race at a different track. Today it is in Cordoba. That's a little track you see on the right of your screen on that track map. Not a very well-known track, I think, outside of Brazil. In Brazil, maybe it's well-known. I actually don't know so well. It's quite interesting. Fairly fast sweeping corners, and decently long straights as well. Interesting to see if people can make moves. It's not like Formula 1 where you basically need a long straight with a lot of slipstream to make anything happen. With these cars you can decently battle throughout corners. At least that is what we hope to see today. Clean as possible, as we see Justin battling this car almost, trying to get everything out of it. Let's see if we can get a good onboard. Well, we'll be on the roof for this one. Nice lap around Cordoba. Medium speed first corner, of course, want to maximize the speed through there. All speed lost is time lost throughout this entire straight. Should be the last thing that you want. And a very fast corner again. How much speed do you dare to take in? It is not flat out by any stretch of the imagination. He handles it quite nicely. It's outside of Brazil. I think this is actually in Argentina. I'm starting to remember this as an Argentinian track. There you go. That corner is a lot faster, a lot more flat. And here there is an infield section if you go to the right, but here we brake for the left. Try to carry as much speed, hit the curbs. These cars seem to be okay on curbs, but you probably don't want to overdo it too much. Hit the apex nicely there. You have to straighten out over those curbs and keep the car stable. Carry as much speed as you can through here. Get on the power early as you can. And finish your lap. It's a good improvement. 4 seconds faster than this previous lap. This track has been drying. There was rain at the start, so it makes sense. It's a very, very nice time. 121, but not as fast as a current leader, Mr. Schleifer. A lot of these names are actually German. It is a primarily German community. I don't speak German, which is why this commentary is in English. As we get to the last stages of this practice session, every driver just trying to get comfortable with the conditions. Not sure if they are aware what the conditions are for the next session. That is something that I unfortunately cannot see. Only got a couple of things that I can see, to be fair. There is a little bit of information on the top right as well, where you can see if somebody is making a pit stop, who sets the fastest lap. Mick Schleifer currently has it, so the bottom one is the most recent. I believe Mick has improved his fastest lap. It's 3/10. That's pretty decent. Track is getting faster. There might even be more in it, but he seems comfortable in this thing. The car doesn't seem to twitch so much. But it's still a car you kind of want to drift. You see the counter steer in the wheels alone. Very brilliant to see how hard Mick is pushing this car. So, who do we have here? We have a decent list of people. Mick Schleifer, of course, showing himself to have quite the pace today. Currently fastest in the practice session, but of course that is practice. We do not know the fuel loads. But it would make sense to go too heavy because we only have a 20-minute race. I say that and I think it might be 30. Let me double check that. It is a 30-minute race, 20-minute practice. I confused the two. 15 minutes of qualifying. There'll be plenty of time for these drivers to find the optimal moment to go out and set their fastest lap. There will be a mandatory pit stop in the race. The drivers will also have to get comfortable with pit entry. It's quite fast, I think, here. Might be a little bit tricky. And Mick Schleifer currently fastest in this session. We got Dustin. Now Dustin is the boss, the big man of SSR. He also hosts. He helps organize this series, but also hosts a Formula 1 series, and he streams on his own channel. Doesn't participate in it, but he just streams it. I think it's brilliant. It's on his YouTube channel by the name of KRRT Dustin. You'll be able to find it there. Give him a couple of likes there, subscribe, and watch the Formula 1 races. The season has only just started. We've got Cafalor, who also joins that Formula 1 series. Has shown himself to have some very good pace. In the, well, I think that's a wonderful livery, very retro number 5 car. We've got KB. Maybe I haven't seen so much, but he is doing decently well here today. Only a second off in relatively difficult conditions at the start. You see a lot of people are struggling to get the pace out of this car. Let's see what KB can do during the race, and it's kind of the same story for Wujek. Currently in 5th, doing a decent job there. See, a lot of people are struggling to track pace, and he improved his time, in fact, almost within a second of Mick Schleifer, but not quite enough for that. I've got Kai Racer. Kai Racer also I haven't seen so much of, but decently comfortable with the car, only 2 seconds off. It's kind of the gaps you will be looking at in sim racing, especially if the lobbies are not... Oh, there's a collision there. That's not what you want to see. I think the number 53 car simply outbroke himself and didn't quite expect the 11 car to brake when he did, but the 11 car nicely made the corner. Kai Racer continues anyway. Not immediately over for him, that's good. We've got Flavor Dave. I think he was the guilty party in that collision we just saw, but in practice, of course, no harm, no foul. You can continue racing. He'll be struggling with the line a little bit. I think, well, this lap might be an exception for him. Already one of my favorites just because of the name. I think that's a brilliant name. Speed up a little bit. We've got RST Busti in 10th so far. Schwarzfahrer, one of the organizers, currently in 8th. Roonlink just improved massively, and that's what we expect to see of him. Roonlink has shown himself to be fast in just about every car we put him in. We try to slow him down, but we fail every time. I've got MK21. But I don't know. I don't want to risk it. Chipan? I don't know. I don't know. I'll call him Pan. I think that's the easier one. Got Michael. He's struggling a little bit with this car. It appears, but that might not be representative. It is practice after all. And then we've got Carlo. Carlo Spicy Wiener. He's currently exploring the gravel a little bit. Trying to get control over this car. Don't think that's a representative lap time. I think he's still trying to get comfortable with this car. There will be no setup hacks today. Everybody is driving the default setup. Practice is complete, but the game does wait either until everybody has finished their current lap or till the timer on the bottom right of your screen has run out. Now that Carlo has finished his lap, that's what we're looking at. Decent lap times, but none of them matter yet. And now is the time when those laps will be important. Qualifying the first session, that really matters. And Michael is the first out on track. And immediately, unfortunately, misjudges the exit out of the pits. No harm, no foul there again. I think instead, MK21 will be the first to attempt a lap. Quickly look from the cockpit. You can see this is what the drivers will be seeing. Not necessarily. Some people might be driving from the roof, and if anybody is on control, they might be in chase cam. It's for vision. This is what a real driver would be seeing. It's a fairly simple car. You don't have those almost square wheels. This is just a fully round one. Not so many buttons on it. I'm not sure if you can see that in any way. Yeah, it's a very simple wheel, as you can see. Dashboard just shows your RPM, your speed, as dials, not as numbers. And there's some other dials that I think one of them is pressure. What Duke is. And let's have a look at what MK21 can do from the driver's perspective. It's not a complicated track, but every single small part needs to be optimized to take pole here today. Let's see if MK21 can do a good job here. Point a little bit inside for the first corner. I think it was a little bit too early because you saw him correct there. Maybe not quite optimal. Maybe went too wide for the game. Maybe invalidate his lap, but it doesn't say anything on the top right, so I think he's okay. But we'll see when he crosses the line in the end. And fairly fast corner, but it is not flat, and you need to take in the right amount of speed. Could be a very good idea to take it cautious at the start, just to get a lap in. If you finish the session without a lap, of course, you're starting in the back. No matter what. Taking decent speed through the corners. A brake at the right time here. This is a fairly tight one. You want to try and carry as much speed as you can and get on the power early. A line to the left. To hit this apex just right so that you can carry a lot of speed through here. This is also not quite flat, it appears. But it is a fast corner. And across the line he will go in a moment. There you go, a 121. The line is quite far back there. Cavallor also sets a time, but it is not faster. Schwarzfahrer is currently faster, so he will be second now, third. Third is MK21. Carlo, we didn't see a representative lap time of yet. Appears to be having a little bit of jumping around, a little bit of lag. Hopefully it's not so bad today when he misses that corner, unfortunately. or one of the contenders for a good time. Ruling sets his first lap, but it is not quite what we would expect from him. 2 seconds off the pace, 2.5 seconds off the pace, and a little bit more. Maybe not quite everything. The person who does deliver on that, our expectations of him is Mick Schleifer, who currently has the fastest lap of the race. Sorry, qualifying. Fastest lap of the qualifying so far, followed by KRRT, Dustin. And the top three is very close to each other. Do you see Ruling trying to push this car maybe a little bit too hard? A massive drift there. I'm not sure if that is faster. Now, if you are used to sim racing, normally you drive Assetto Corsa Competizione. If you drift there, it's always slower. But in Automobilista, if there was a long period where drifting was basically always faster, even in Formula 1 cars, if you lost the rear, but you aligned right out of the loss and didn't take too much time, then you would be fine. I think that is too much. I don't feel like it will be improving too much here, and it will also be slightly annoying to be held up here. But of course, the driver ahead is also setting a lap, and it's up to the driver behind to keep enough space. Sometimes that's difficult to judge, assuming the driver ahead was on a lap. Now, Ruling has improved now. 4th place, a 120.8. That is still a decent bit away of Mick Schleifer, who is currently fastest. KRT Dustin does improve their time and their position. They now beat Wojciech, but is not quite enough. Within a 10th, though, of Mick Schleifer, who still has a stranglehold on this pole position. Number 69 Porsche, flying, is setting lap after lap. It might not always be optimal in terms of tire conditions. However, it is the most fun way to do it, for one. And it also makes sure you build up a little bit of a rhythm, which might be more nice. The track will continue to improve, little by little. The time should tumble down slowly but surely. As he comes across the line, will Mick Schleifer improve his time again? He does! It's less than a 10th, but it is an improvement nonetheless, and that could matter. So 120.0, will we see a 119 today? I think that would be the question. MK21, a decent first lap, but has now improved himself to be ahead of Ruling. Runing's closely followed by Kaflo and Schwarzfahrer. Then we've got KB in P8, Kaimanish in P9, and we've got Kushti so far in P10. Carlo has improved on his fastest lap in practice as well. Now not so far off the pace, having a decent understanding of the car, or like a basic understanding at least. E14 with only 2.5 seconds off the pace. MK21 finishes this lap. Is it an improvement? It is indeed a about 0.2 improvement. So it's small improvements right now. One of the closer battles I see is for P5, as Schwarzfahrer takes the lead of that little battle ahead of Ruling. Kafalo was also very close. Is still very close. So between those three, it's interesting to see who will take that 5th spot, and maybe even more, as Wojciech is the first driver actually to set a 119.9, but Mick Schleifer immediately improves 0.2 under that. That is a brilliant lap, and I think he will be very, very happy with that. Very nice first place, but it is not over. This track will still improve. The drivers will get more comfortable, and Flavor Dave actually joins the little battle between Schwarzfahrer, Ruling, and Kafalo for P5. Puts himself in P7 with a 1 minute 20.858. Further back we have Kaimanish, I believe. Not sure if he improved. He's currently in the pits. Kushti with Kai Racer in 12th so far. Michael MH7 13th. 14th is Carlo, and Mr. Pan is 15th. 15 drivers today. That's a decent grid today. I think we can be very happy with that. As we it was an improvement, and it might have been Kafalo putting himself into P5 there. a little battle for 5th place. Cavallo currently leading it, but you can see that the gap to, as I say, that MK21 takes that position. No, Ruling improved by a lot and is now 4th place, only about 100th of a second behind Dustin. An excellent improvement from Ruling, and I think he will be very happy with that. But Dustin is still driving. He's going to improve his time as well. Is he going to break away a little bit? No, that lap was not an improvement, and I don't think this one will be, because I think he missed the corner there a little bit. Regardless, still 3rd, a little bit ahead of Ruling, but Ruling will now be on the hunt to improve and maybe even overtake. Let's see if he is able to do that. Tries to optimize the entry there, but ooh, he misses the apex. That might not be enough. Maybe that will be time safe for the next lap. This one is an improvement regardless. It appears that this car is very... not so hard to drive and get control of per se, but it is so tough to optimize. You can see these drivers struggle to hit apexes. They go across the line a little bit when they go on an exit, but no improvements in this occasion yet. Ruling stays 4th, and Dustin is going back into the pits to get his car optimal for the last few laps. Wujek is, I think, right behind Ruling right now, physically on track, but the time between him and Mick Schleifer is quite big. It's going to be difficult to overtake there. Go further down. Quickly go trackside again. MK21 currently 5th, and then we have Cavallo in 6th. Those two are quite close together, but not as close together as Schwarzfahrer is to Cavallo. Let me quickly get a track map open so people can have a look at that. Mick Schleifer just improved his best time. Not a massive improvement, but it is an improvement, and I think he will be happy with that. The improvement is it's just very impressive with those times. Schwarzfahrer is currently 7th though, ahead of Flavor Dave, who isn't so far back. It is still at 10th, but it isn't so far, and KB is quite close to that. So there's a decent pack there, and the exciting thing is not just in qualifying, where these drivers clearly have the pace, maybe go a little bit faster and overtake each other, but also there's a good chance that during the race they will be battling as well. And Ruling, there you go, improves his time and goes ahead of Dustin. Really a 3rd place for Ruling. Wujek still faster than him, but he's also the 3rd driver to set a 119.9. 119 rather. Where's Wujek? Wujek is right behind him. Mick Schleifer currently in the pits. Will not be improving as long as he stands in the pits, but he does still have time to drive out and set another lap. Dustin is on track. He will be trying to improve. I think this might already be a flying lap for him, but keep an eye out on that. MK21 will be finishing his lap very shortly. We're trying to either break away from the top, break into the top 4. Might not be fast enough for that yet. No, in fact, he doesn't improve. 410's too slow, unfortunately. But there's still time. Cavallo, same story. He also just starts his lap. Schwarzfahrer is... I felt like I missed a small improvement there from one of the drivers. But Schwarzfahrer is currently halfway through his lap. We have a quick look at Flavor Dave, who is mostly coming up to the end of the lap. Got 2 corners left to go. He is currently down a little bit, so I doubt this will be an improvement. We've got Kaimanish really in 9th place, but it is still room for improvement. And KB is so close behind. In fact, goes to finish his lap. Is KB going to improve? No, the lap is slower. And that might very simply just be preparation. Maybe made a small mistake and decided it's best to invest into this lap. Or maybe even the next lap. There's still time for that, but only just. Don't have to finish. Oh, and there's a yellow flag. I believe a driver has stopped on track. Can't really see who it is. Fortunately. Let's have a quick look at Dustin. I also saw another driver next to the track. Somebody may have had a couple of people may have had a couple of issues. Let's see on the roof. Ooh, and that's a mistake by Dustin that I'm not sure you can just about afford to make, but that was going to be a good lap. Only 2 tenths down after that did mean that there was a good chance he was up before that. Just unfortunate, but life continues. And he will continue to drive because there is still chance for an improvement. There's one more lap and he will need to make it count. Roonink is 2 tenths ahead of him, and so is Wujek. So there's a good chance he can take second here. But Wujek and Mick Schleifer will not be improving. Neither will Roonink, who has now also gone to the pit. So all eyes on Dustin. Is Dustin going to be able to improve his lap time? And will it be enough? Going through this corner, will try to push as hard as he can. Doesn't have too much to lose. It will be a big jump for anyone to beat him, but he will have to do the same. A little bit of a slide there. He bogged down a little bit. Still looks decent enough. Let's have a look at the splits when they come up. Takes the exit curb there, not too far over, so that is good. Keeps the car stable. Stable under braking here. Needs to hit the apex. Slightly wide, but it works out just fine. Let's see if we can get a split here. Doesn't appear to be case quite yet. I don't think we'll be seeing the splits while the qualifying complete timer runs. Bottom right. As we see him pass across the finish line, will it be an improvement? It doesn't appear to be an improvement at all, so Dustin will have to settle for 4th. And ahead of him, Roonink, who, despite improving a lot in this session, was fighting for 5th earlier, all the way up to 3rd. Still has to acknowledge that Wujek is a better qualifier in this case, on this track. But Mick Schleifer above everyone else. What a brilliant pole position from him. I think he will be satisfied with that. Then we'll go down from 5th. MK21 beats everyone else that was fighting for that 5th place. Kaffelow has to settle for 6th. And Schwarzfahrer very, very close behind, but not enough. P7 for him. Kushti is also close behind, but has to settle for P8. Flavor Dave in P9. Then we've got Kaimanish in P10. KB in P11. Then we got Pan in P12. Actually, P12 is only 1.5 seconds away, so I think that's very nicely done. And you do see here the funky things that AMS2 likes to do from time to time. Carlo 13th, we've got Kai Racer 14th, and Michael rounds off the grid. Now, there is a timer running on screen, as you can see. But that timer is not quite accurate. I think we'll reset to 30 minutes as soon as the race starts. But the drivers now have 2 minutes to set everything up the right way. Get the fuel correct. Get the tires correct. There will not be much else. Like, there's no setup change that can make because we are on default setups. With some minor adjustments to the brake bites, what you might see. That can be driver preference. Roonink, Wujek, and Schleifer then. Dustin will also be in this battle. Now, Schleifer has shown excellent pace in qualifying, but will it translate to the race? It's not always so obvious, unfortunately for him. And there will also be a strategical element in the pit stops. We have seen a lot of these drivers before, but not everyone. So it's interesting to see what will come out of this one. Got about 45 seconds left before the session will force start. But it might start a little sooner than that if the drivers decide that they are ready sooner. I think we'll probably be watching on Carlo. Carlo tends to be one of the last to announce his preparedness. 20 seconds. Down to 15, and very, very soon we will hear the lights. Won't quite be able to see them unless we go into chase here. But that is not as nice of a starting sign. And the lights go green, and I think that's a very nice start from Mick. He will be on the inside as well, so it's not a long run to the first corner. He maintains the position. Wujek right behind Roonink there as well, and Dustin actually has a very good start. Let's have a quick look at him, because he's already on the back of Roonink. Roonink is also on the back of Wujek. I don't think any of them are going to be able to make an overtake. Ooh, and there's maybe a little bit of contact there. Roonink has to back out. There's no big grievances there. Nobody off track. But a little sketchy. Dustin looks around the outside as Roonink struggles on entry. And I think that's... that's not quite job done. Roonink has the better line there. The shorter line on the inside. And I think Kushi has already, unfortunately, met the grass here. It's very unfortunate. Has to rejoin the race. But there is still a battle going on for third. As Mick Schleifer has kind of cut away. Wujek is pushing though, trying to catch as best as he can. I think that slide lost him more time than I gained, and Roonink is actually attacking him now around the outside. There's a very difficult corner, very tricky. He goes off track to finish that. Well, I'm not sure if the stewards will be looking at that, if we have stewarding, but the battle is still on. Wujek is still side by side with Roonink, but I think Roonink has the better speed at the outside line. But into this corner, Wujek will be on the inside. Roonink will have to take that into account. But he mounts the curb, and I think that's speed loss. And that means that Roonink will be able to maintain that position. Wujek also now has to face pressure from Dustin behind, who also needs to worry about Cavalo, who is closing in on this little battle. Dustin looks on the inside for the next corner. Let's quickly see if this is going to work. Wujek is struggling there, but he keeps the speed on the outside, and he nicely maintains his position there. Ooh, and you see also Roonink struggling to keep this car nicely on the road, but it is still all on the tarmac. Should have enough grip to drive away, but the person that's really benefiting from this is Mick Schleifer in P1. He's currently over a second away, and as long as nobody can keep up with his pace, he should have a decent shot at winning already, but it's still a pit stop to go. Ooh, as Dustin tries for a move on the inside, but unfortunately not quite able to make it stick. Backed out quite nicely. That could have been a disaster, although these cars are pretty stable. Race with them quite nicely, and I think Wujek takes a couple of liberties there with the track limits, but continues nicely on. Dustin has to settle for fourth now. Cavalo actually is a threat to him though, only 2/10 behind, and you can see what that looks like here. As I see, ooh, a bit squirrely there from Dustin. Hopefully he still has the speed. Oh, but goes on the grass, and that's not going to be good. Dustin is on the grass, loses a lot of speed. Keeps the car stable, though. Very important. Could have been a spin, but Cavalo then takes P4 ahead of Dustin. Now we'll be chasing down Wujek for hopefully a podium for him. As Roonink will try to catch Mick Schleifer for us. Hopefully have a battle for the lead. And he was faster this last lap. A bit late on the brakes, which is why the Delta showed that he was closing in, but it's not quite the case. Not overall anyway. To now set our sights a little bit further down, and we believe we have K Manish in P6. Currently not really under threat by Carlos Spicer behind him, who has an excellent start actually. I think he started in P13, P14, now in P7. Has halved his position. Very well done by him. He'll be satisfied with that. We've got Schwarzfahrer behind him. Pan in 9th. Also an excellent start from him. Flavor Dave has lost a couple of positions there. And Michael also had a very good start. I believe he started last. He's currently in 11th. And then the people that lost out a little bit. Kai Racer, MK21, KB and Kusti are making up the back. KB and Kusti actually already very, very far away. See almost 3 wide here. Michael looking on the inside of, I believe it's Pan and Flavor Dave battling there, but Michael not really able to join there, but Flavor Dave gets the better of everyone, as Pan has to defend against Michael now. Quickly looking on the roof of Michael, we'll have the best view from here, looking on the inside, but there's not going to be a move there. Unless there is a mistake from Pan, but that is not looking to happen, as Dave also has to face pressure. He's not comfortably in the lead of Pan. And if you look further ahead, actually, if you dare to dream, Schwarzfahrer is also right there. Carlo is a little bit further up the road, but is not unreachable. A lot of fighting here yet to happen. Speaking of fighting, I believe Wujek is right on the back of Roonlink. Going to be a lot of battling here, which is very, very good to see. And we do see that Cavalo is being, again, facing a lot of pressure from Dustin, who also tries to take liberties. I guess this is how the drivers will drive now. But I think he overestimated his grip there a little bit. And now Dustin is right beside him. Is he going to be able to make this overtake on the inside for the next corner? Should have the advantage. Is he going to make it stick nicely? Hits the apex. Not too wide on the exit, hopefully this time. Do not touch the grass. And there you go. Very nicely done. Very good overtake from Dustin on Cavalo. Cavalo looks on the inside though. He still has some overspeed from the slipstream. He is comfortably on the inside. Will maybe stick this move and throughout the corner. Yeah, there he goes. Nice move on the inside, and they're letting each other live. Trading these places, but it does mean that the top 3, or top 2 it is. Oh, because Wujek made a mistake. Oh no, Wujek on the hairpin, turn 3. He has unfortunately, I think, either made a mistake or came together with Roonlink. And now he's all the way back in P8. That is a disaster for him. Will have to fight his way back, but the race is still long. 23 minutes to go and a mandatory pit stop. So there's still everything to fight for him. As Roonlink has lost a little bit of time on Big Schleifer, so well, we can't say anything if there was a collision there or not. May have cost him a little bit there. Like around Pan, there's still a lot of battling going on, but a couple of places ahead actually. Wujek is catching Schwarzfahrer, who is in his turn catching Carlos Spicy Wiener. Quickly from the roof of Wujek, we'll be able to see what's going on. Carlos defending the inside, a bit far inside, but he takes it outside again. Oh, that's not the optimal line. Don't think he doesn't have a lot of speed. Schwarzfahrer has to back out, and Wujek, who's more comfortable in this car, tries for a move on the inside, but there's not much space there, and he has to back out. Schwarzfahrer a little bit caught out maybe what was going on behind him. Lose a lot of speed on the grass, and Wujek goes around the outside. Is it going to stick? Schwarzfahrer is still on the inside. Doesn't carry as much speed. Wujek is just so much more comfortable in this thing. Oh, Schwarzfahrer does break very, very late, and Pan is now also through. I don't think Wujek will be happy with that move, because I think he feels like he was pushed out there. And because of how close this battle is, he's lost a couple of positions with that. Now, that is very interesting to see, and he will have to keep calm. We have to keep his head cool to continue making places, because complaining in the car is unfortunately not going to help for pace. In fact, it only tends to harm people, but the battling is so close. There's going to be a lot of mistakes here from drivers left, right, and center, and he benefits from one. The driver ahead of Wujek currently, Flavor Dave, who had to go slowly into that. That gives Wujek all the time he needs, and he will be continuing to fight his way forward. Currently in P10, but P6 is only 2 seconds away, which is crazy. So if he gets a couple of good runs, he can fight his way to P6 fairly easily, and then he will be able to focus on his pace for P5. But it might be worth for him to take a stop early and get himself out of the strain. There might be a strategical element there, but we'll have to see as the weather turns a little bit foggy. Now, that is not brilliant for the trackside camera, so we'll be on the roof camera for a little bit, I think. Wujek looking on the inside of Flavor Dave, who leaves him the space, but he's not able to pull alongside Wujek. Ooh, unfortunately was a little bit too wide there and couldn't make a move stick. Flavor Dave keeps that position for a little bit. Carlo has also lost the position, I believe, to K Manish, or K Manish has lost a little bit of time, I think, and is now caught up by Carlo, who is still in P6. Yeah, K Manish is now 13 seconds behind. I think it used to be like 8. Very unfortunate for him, if I am right there. We'll see in the lap time in a moment if that is true. Dustin has fallen away a little bit for Cavalo, who now has 3 seconds towards Roonlink. The top 4 a appear to be in a bit of a holding pattern there. There's not going to be much moving around. Yeah, Kaiman is at 126 there, so that was not a fast lap for him. He lost 4 seconds at least. Schwarzfahrer decides to box right now. I think it's a very wise decision. That might be one of those decisions that gets him an excellent position at the end, because it means he's out of the traffic and can drive his own pace if he felt like he was being held up. Wujek, though, hasn't done that. He's currently in P9, still on the back of this pack. Now, that's not where he wants to be. Might either try to stay out as long as he can, go for a splash and dash at the end, or maybe he boxes now and tries to get out of this battle. Pando very close to Carlo. Carlo will have to look into his mirrors. And so will Dave with Wujek right behind him. Oh, but it makes a small mistake there, Carlo. That will not be optimal speed out of that corner. And has some overspeed, but it's not enough to make a move here. Maybe through a switchback, because Carlo was very far on the inside there. Will not have had the optimal line there. Out of this corner, tried to carry as much speed, but both cars seem to be about equal there. Don't think there's much for Pan to see here. And Wujek, meanwhile, has caught up along with Dave. So this is going to be a full-way battle very soon. As Carlo goes a little bit too wide, maybe. Let's have a quick look. Is Pan going? He's catching up. He's catching up. He's almost alongside. But Carlo is defending the inside. Very smart move from him. But can Pan make it happen around the outside? He does have a little bit more confidence. As the fog clears up, we can see nicely on trackside cam that Carlo does defend the position. Oh, it's very late on the brakes for Dave there. That's too late on the brakes for Dave there. And Wujek goes past. As I think Dave is trying to hold it around the outside on the grass, but that is just not going to happen. And he will have to enjoy the grass a little bit longer there. As Pan is still very, very close to Carlo. But they also have to deal with Wujek now, who is right on top of them. As Pan goes on the inside there. Oh, there is contact. I think Carlo, was he taken out? Oh, yeah, he's got pushed on the grass. That was an interesting incident, but I think it's just a racing incident. That is so unfortunate for him. Hopefully he recovers the car well and is able to continue quickly. That was a very nice move from Wujek, benefiting from the battling between Pan and Carlo there. Moves himself up to P6 and will now be driving as fast as he can to try and catch up to Keimanish. Looking further up ahead, we see... Oh, Rulik has made a mistake! Don't know what happened there, but he had to reset the track. He was on the grass. Was there contact? That looks very uncharacteristic. Yeah, all the way down to P5. Wondering what happened there. Very unfortunate. It does mean that Caffalo promotes himself to P2. As Dustin catches up to him slowly but surely. Getting very, very close and will be able to make a move. Well, hopefully soon for him. As well, I want to say everything cooled down a little bit. Dave is now very, very close to Oh, as we see, I think it's Michael making a bit of a mistake there. Flavor Dave very close to MK21 now. Will be battling there. As all of this battling is going on in the midfield and near the front, as all the way in the front is still Mick Schleifer, who is just hot lapping, just trying to go as fast as he can. He will be boxing as late as he's allowed to. Very likely, or as late as well, later than anyone else. Runik decides to pit now. Probably not damaged, probably just trying to get himself, just get it over with. Put himself out of sync, out of the leaders, and maybe catch some people off guard that way. As Schleifer does continue to just hot lap and will be having a lot of fun doing that. They've still closed behind MK21. And because of other battles, actually, impressively, Pan is still quite close to Wujek. We have seen Wujek quite far ahead earlier. He was one of the leaders, but that's keeping up with him. I think it's very, very good, and I will be happy to see that. Keimanish was quite far back actually. I think he was in the bottom 5 after qualifying, but he has shown some pace, he has shown some consistency, got on top of the battles that he needed to be on top of, and now sitting in a very, very pretty P4, and he will be satisfied with that if he can keep that. Now, keeping a position for Cavallor here is not going to be so simple. Dustin is right behind him on his tail. He's been catching for a little bit now, and he's right upon him now. 120.7 was Dustin's last lap, and the Cavallor was about 6/10 slower. Is that enough to make a move here for Dustin? Well, Dustin will be waiting for a good opportunity, if it will come. Maybe looking on the inside, but there's not much there. Cavallor is defending that very nicely, not leaving a car with space. And also around the outside, he had enough presence there. But that may be a little bit of a mistake. Miss the apex, and Dustin right on top of it will have slightly overspeed with the slipstream. Looks to the inside, but there's not a move there. But Cavallor maybe got caught out, looked in his mirror, saw Dustin there, maybe a little bit, distracted. Focus away. It's not enough for Dustin to really catch up, but Dustin does have a decent run now. Maybe after the last corner on the start-finish straight. Oh, and actually Cavallor touches the wall there. That loses him a lot of speed, and Dustin is through and completely past, but he will be on a slightly less optimal line, being slightly further on the inside. If Cavallor can carry all of the speed possible through here, uses all of the exit that he can. He does have overspeed. He does have slipstream. Goes to the inside. Is it going to be enough? He's already slightly past. Dustin on the outside, though, will be able to keep the momentum. Even in this hairpin, he's going to be on the outside. And Cavallor, I think, re-overtakes him. Oh, but there's a switchback here. Cavallor slightly misses the trick there on the exit. But he's not past yet. Dustin on the outside for the next corner. I think he has to let it go here, but he does still have another switchback. Here we go again, boys. On the inside for the next corner. Is it going to be enough? He's quite far back. I think he's going to let him live. And there will not be a switchback here. He's just simply not in the position on entry. That was almost a full lap of battling, of threats to go on the inside, on the outside. But it's not over yet. It's going to continue for a little while. Strap yourselves in if you are watching this, because Dustin is on the hunt and Cavallor is the prey, but he will not let himself be caught so easily, and he is able to fight back. He has proven. If Dustin does get ahead temporarily, we'll make sure that it stays temporarily, and beyond that, you do see these people are dropping pace a little bit. Slifer is running away with it, but on top of that, Manis's last lap wasn't so fast, but Wojciech was much faster, Pan was much faster. There's a good chance that these guys will be losing too much time with this. Although Dustin, oh, very nice move there on the inside. Cavallor maybe goes for a switchback here. Might not be possible on the inside of this hairpin. Also not going to be likely, although a big drift from Dustin there. Lost a bunch of speed there. Cavallor is now very close behind. Will it be enough for him to stage on the move? We have seen him be able to fight back. Well, that was from a better position. Is it going to be good enough here? It doesn't appear to be for now, and he will have to settle for this position for now. That was some brilliant fighting between these two, letting each other live, switchbacks here and there. Very nice moves around the inside and outside. That is the racing we want to see, and these cars do provide the ability to create such battles, and I think we can be very happy to see that. As Runelink, who had an error earlier, it appeared, out of the first corner. Currently in P11 has stopped, and currently I think maybe struggling with overtaking back markers, because they are back markers for him in terms of pace, but they have the full right to defend this. Ratsfire is simply a fight for position, 10th and 11th, as Wojciech makes his stop. a little earlier than the leaders. 10 minutes before the end of the race, so there's still plenty of time for people to make their stops. Wojciech has made his stop. Andrei, well, Vrulink, it will be his real name. He has already stopped. And then we've got the top 3 who still haven't. But Schleifer, surely he will be splashing and dashing at the end. Just go into the box, take a liter of fuel and continue from there. If he boxes any sooner, he risks getting stuck into a little bit of traffic. And that would be the only thing that can stop him. Because his pace is incredible as Dustin now chooses to box. Scafalor will have to try and overtake through an overcut. We'll be able to do that. I think it might be good for him to stay out if Dustin does make a couple of mistakes or maybe get stuck in traffic. Scafalor might be in the best position to re-overtake. Let's see where Dustin comes out. We sit on his roof. We do see, I believe that's Pan ahead of him, but that's a decent gap. There's some air there, but what you don't see is that Kaimanish is right there, and Dustin is actually right behind him, so that might be a disaster for Dustin. There's a good chance that he loses a little bit of time here, and losing a little bit of time against Scafalor, who has the pace, who has done a 140.4, only 2 tenths slower than the leader in that lap. That might be enough for Scafalor to re-overtake, and yeah, Dustin might come to regret stopping as early as he did. Kaimanish will have the full right to defend as well. I think Dustin is struggling a little bit to keep, well, not to keep the car on track, just to keep the pace up. It's coming out of the pits, getting comfortable with the movements of this car, the way it dances. There's a small battle going on. I think it's between KB and Carlo. Carlo dropped back a little bit, but I think that's because he boxed. But KB is right behind him. Seems to have a little bit of speed. A little bit of more pace, I should say, than Carlo. A little bit faster. Looks on the inside there, but Carlo defends rather aggressively. They compromise each other's lines quite a lot. So it'll be a little bit slow. Looking on the inside, Carlo takes the normal racing line there, goes for the apex relatively aggressively, but there's nothing KB can do there. We'll have to let him go for a little bit. As far, I think, has now been overtaken by Wojciech. So Wojciech will be able to try and drive away from that. MK21 now starts exiting the pits. But I think it will be behind Wojciech, who is currently coming around the first turn. So it will be great success for Wojciech if he manages to stick this pass. He will have overspeed, and I think it will be enough to... not quite comfortably, actually. The MK21 is actually quite close, has a little bit of overspeed, is able to defend this on the inside, and Wojciech will not quite be happy with this. This is going to cost him time and possibly some positions come the end of the race. There we go. Wojciech still has to deal with MK21, who is currently in P9 to get a decent stop. As Flavor Dave and I think Vrulink are fighting. Vrulink made a couple of mistakes, but Flavor Dave is right on top of him. And Dave actually going into the box, right there. I think if we look at the lap time of Vrulink, I think we'll see this one was slightly slower. 121 last time around, this time it's also 121, only slightly slower. But people are pulling 120s. Dustin currently fastest man on track, 120.1. Even though Mick Schleifer is a 121.0, I don't think he'll be too worried. Kaimanish is currently being threatened by Dustin still. Kaimanish, of course, was ahead on exits of the pits for Dustin. That might lose him a little bit of time. Scafalor still hasn't boxed. I think that would be accurate. Let's see if he does that this lap or if he waits as long as possible to try and gain as much time on Dustin. But Dustin has been fast. 120.1 despite being behind Kaimanish, who also has decent pace, to be fair. It's not like he's losing time hand over fist. But he will be losing time, and Kaimanis now pulls into the pits, leaving Dustin free to lap as he pleases. And now Kavlo might want to think about boxing for himself. Roonling will also be trying to push and overtake Kaimanis, who it will be very short stops for these guys. Yeah, it's just splash and dash, get a liter, stand still for like literally a second. It does mean lose a little bit of time, but Kaimanis I think emerges behind Roonling, but will be taking 4th place again. He had a better position earlier, but 4th place I think will be the best for him for now. Kaimanis though, P5. Very good job. Just had excellent pace on his first stint at the end. Now is ahead of Pan, Kai Racer and Bujek behind. 5 minutes to go. Now Carlo had a very good start. Got all the way up. Now back to P13. He's lost touch with a lot of people there because his last lap time was a 1:36. And that is not very fast at all. He had already stopped prior, so that cannot be the reason. I think he simply made a bit of a mistake, misjudgment, an error, whatever it be. It's a lot of time there. And now we see Kavlo. Oh, this is a big one. Kavlo is in the box, but Dustin actually already on the exit of the last corner. I think Dustin may have had the better laps here, because he's going to emerge well ahead of Kavlo. Kavlo stood still for a little longer than he needed to. Regardless, Dustin will be faster, will be in a better position. Kavlo currently in P3. Might have to contend with Roonling at the end of the race, although the gap is still decently big and the race not so much anymore. As Roonling touches the grass a little bit too much there. Kaimanis behind has to face a little bit of pressure from Pan here. This battle is not entirely over yet. A mistake could very well swap these drivers around us. Speaking of battles, we have Wujek here on the inside of Kai Racer, who has to concede that position, I think. Very nice job from Wujek coming back after an error. Or I think it was... I don't remember what it was. Just fell back, unfortunately. And all the way back to P7. P6 is a little bit far away. If you can maintain this, it will be a very decent job regardless. Flavor Dave in P9. Excellent job from him today so far. KB and Schwarzfahrer follow them around. Just not such small gaps anymore. I think Pan is currently closest to Kaimanis, and that will be what we will be watching for a little bit. See, this gap is still a decent gap. I think Pan will be very, very motivated to take another position. Be very good for the championship. Under the fan attack signs and across the start finish line, Pan was slightly faster, 0.2 of a second, but I don't think 0.2 will be enough. I think this is mostly on Kaimanis. If he can keep up this lap time, he probably will be fine. If Kaimanis makes errors, slows down a little bit here and there too much, then things could go south rather quickly as Schleifer finally goes for his stop. Will be a fairly short stop, a splash and dash at the end, as Dustin is simply too far away from to benefit from it. It will be not decently close. Schleifer is too comfortable in this car, too consistent, I think, on this track. Very good chance he will take it home unless a mistake unfortunately happens. Roonling currently in 3rd, and Kavlo is actually lapping a couple of people here. I have to take care of that. As Pan still trying to fight Kaimanis. And I think this might be... I don't think this will be... Excuse me. I don't think this will quite be the last lap. Although Schleifer is currently, well, here on track. I'm not sure what that will be in terms of time. I think there will be one lap after this. It's a little bit hard to say sometimes. I see a beautiful drift here by Runlink. I was actually trying to look at Pan and Kaimanish, who are still battling for 5th. And if my assumptions are correct, they will be doing that for a little bit longer. In a few seconds, we will be switching back to Schleifer just to see. Yeah, it comes across the line in a moment with only 6 seconds left to go, which means that this will be the last lap of the race. Now, very, very good racing from Schleifer today. He's done an excellent job being consistent, having the pace, pole position. Not by a country mile, but by a decent gap. 2 tenths is nothing to sneeze on. And especially in racing, where sometimes the gaps can be extremely tight. Very good job today. Consistent in the lead, and it's just hot lapping, just doing the laps he can. As Pan is still, I think he's slightly closing in maybe, last lap. Minus of 120.4. Oh, but Pan, that is a strong lap at 119.8. That is a good improvement. Getting closer, but is it going to be enough? There is no time remaining. As in, literally, the timer has disappeared. Next time across the finish line will be the last time, and that's when the results will be decided. The Pan has to make it to happen right now. But I don't think Kaimanish is going to let it happen. Kaimanish has also been very consistent. Not so many big mistakes from him. He's trying to keep his car nicely under control. And that's all he has needed to do in the last stages. Oh, but he does touch the grass here. Oh, and that could be costly. He's going to be a little bit slower here. And Pan smells blood in the water. He's catching as the race has completed. And Schleifer does take the win. Very nicely done from him. And I think Dustin is in 2nd place. Cavallor is a little bit behind there, but that is not what we're watching now. Pan will be catching to Kaimanish a little bit, but I think Pan was a little bit slow out of that corner. Kaimanish will maybe live. Ooh, but that is not brilliant from both drivers. Is the difference enough? This might be a drag race. Pan will have the slightly better line, but will have the better exit. Actually, he doesn't. Kaimanish, very nicely done there. Will be very, very satisfied with that P5. Had to fight for it. And Pan has to settle for 6th. We have Cavallor in 3rd, last person on the podium, and Runelink in 4th. Unfortunate for the incident, but fought back very nicely. As KB now approaches the start-finish line. 7th place for him. Wujek behind will be slightly frustrated with P8, but P8 nonetheless. Schwarzfahrer behind. Decent job from him today. P9 it is, and Dave right behind. And MK21 just too late with the overtake. Very close behind. P11 it is for him. Carlo also finishes in P12. And that is the end of the race, everyone. You know, quickly save the replay just so we have it. And Kai Racer in 13th. Kushti in P14. And unfortunately for Michael, he was doing quite well halfway through, but maybe not quite as consistent in his car as he would like to be. And that's all she wrote. All right. Thank you all very much for watching anyway. I've been Finnick doing commentary for this race today. If you have been enjoying this, don't forget to follow. And in fact, look up Dustin. You see his name on the screen on top of the list right there. Look him up on YouTube. He will be streaming Formula 1 races with the same community, different cars. And that will also be very exciting. He does it in German though, so yeah, maybe either mute or just, you know, bear through it. Or you speak German, you can understand it. Very good. Yeah, he has a very good production values in his streams, so definitely worth a watch on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. I have been Finnick and I'm signing out. Goodbye.